Hey guys, what's up? It's B coming from G&A today. So today I want to quickly do a comparison between the Smith & Wesson SD9VE and the Smith & Wesson M&P9 2.0. Now before I start, I just want to say that I really do like both of these pistols. They both fill the niche that they're after in a very, very good way. But of course, the reason you would consider the SD9VE is because it is a relatively cheap handgun. I've just did a quick look on gun.deals or wikiarms.guns. And you can find it around $250, $260 pretty much. And then on the M&P, I looked at it, and you can get it around $380, $390. I found mine on a good sale a few months ago from Brownells, and they had a 10% off deal, and I got it for $315. So that just makes it real close. But the SD9VE obviously is going to be cheaper than the M&P9. On both of them, mags are empty. Chambers clear. Chambers clear. Now both of these obviously are striker fired handguns. Okay, one of the biggest things is the trigger pull on these. And yep, we're clear. So on the M&P9, trigger pull is pretty good. And then reset is right there. Very nice. On the SD9VE, the trigger is very heavy, and reset is right there. So there's no question about it, the M&P9 definitely has a better trigger. Okay, let's do a trigger pull test real quick. So the first one is going to be the M&P9. 4 pounds 9 ounces. 7 pounds 1 ounce. Let's try that again real quick on both of them. A little over 5 pounds there. Probably not a totally consistent pull on that, which is kind of the key on this. 7 pounds 4 ounces. Let's try it one more. 4 pounds 14 ounces. I bet that's closer to what it is. It's a little over 7 pounds. Okay, as you pull the MP9, it gets to right there before you hit the wall. On the SD9, you get right there before you hit the wall. Then on the SD9, you got to pull all the way through. It stacks forever to right there. And then on the MP9, it just breaks pretty close to where the wall's at. Okay, with an empty mag on the M&P9, it is 27.5 ounces. And with an empty mag, it is 22.75. So M&P's heavier by about 4 or 5 ounces. Okay, I'm going to show you a difference in size here. This is the M&P9. They are very, very similar in size. The M&P9 looks like it's taller, but it's because its mag is kind of flattened off where the SD9VE is kind of angled down. But very similar. Move it about like that. The 9 maybe just a tiny bit longer, but not by much. Okay, and then I'm going to throw in here, this is a Glock 19, or well, it's a 23, but it's the same size as the Glock 19. And you can see those are definitely bigger. And then here's a Glock 17, and it's definitely closer to the size of those. Although the Glock 17 is longer than all of them. One definite advantage is the carrying boxes. The SD9 comes with just this cardboard box, where the M&P9 comes with a good hard case here. It's got foam in it, and it's got slots for all your stuff, for another magazine. Very nice. Okay, another advantage of the M&P9 is that it has removable and exchangeable back straps, which it comes with. All of those comes with 4 of them. I like the smallest one. It looks the best to me, and I like to just be able to really wrap around and grab that. And to change the back strap is very easy. You just twist this, pull it out, this comes off. Take another back strap, slide that in, push that back in, spin it, and boom, you're good to go. So while we're talking about that, obviously on the SD9, you cannot do that. It's just the same size. Of course, you could put some some grip tape or something on there to make it bigger, I guess, but it's kind of hard to make it smaller. And on this one, it's pretty chunky as it is. It's pretty wide right in here. It's the same thing as the medium large. Basically, I kind of wrap my hand around and figure out which one is basically the same thing as the medium large on the M&P9. So it's kind of on the big side on the SD9VE. You can get it down to very small on the M&P9. Okay, on the mags, the standard mag on the SD9 is a 16 round mag, and the standard for the M&P9 2.0 is 17. So it has one more round. But whenever you have that many, I guess one really doesn't matter much, but it does have one extra. And, of course, since the SD9VE's been out for way longer, the mags are a little bit cheaper. Kind of looked around, saw them for about $25. The M&P9 mags are about $30 or so, and these are not interchangeable. This is about 0.85 on the M&P9. It's about 0.80 on the SD9VE, and there's other geometric differences. They will not work in each other. This M&P9 mag, it just won't fit. I mean, I'm pushing, it's kind of going in a little bit, but it's just too wide. There's no way. They made it to where they would not be interchangeable. Okay, and both of these guns come with 2 magazines. The texture differences on these two, on the SD9VE, really to me, the stippling on here is adequate. It's good enough. I feel like I can, with this kind of checkering on the back and stippling here on the front and checkering on the front strap, I feel like I get a pretty good grip on that. On the M&P9 2.0, this texture is very aggressive, I feel like. In fact, it may be a little bit too much. For me, it's all right, but if you had, you know, if your hands were kind of sensitive, I think this nearly would be too much. It's very aggressive. If you're considering buying this, I would definitely go to Academy or some gun store and feel the texture and see if you're going to like that, because whenever that thing's recoiling, it's going to be grabbing in pretty good, so I would check that for sure. Okay, I definitely prefer the takedown on the M&P9. Of course, make sure you're empty here. So what you do is you lock the slide back, drop this lever down, let the slide go forward, pull the trigger, and then boom, the slide comes right off. Very easy to do that. On the SD9, nothing in the chamber. I go ahead and pull the trigger now. That's the way I do it. Kind of pull it back. I mean, it's exactly like a Glock. You got to pull these little tabs down and then drop your slide off. But these little tabs right here, trying to grab onto that to pull it down, there's just not much to grab on. And I guess it's to make it to where if you're putting a holster or something, it's not going to grab on there. But it just makes it so hard to get those. So I do not like the takedown on this very much. I mean, I can do it all right, but it's just definitely easier on the M&P9. But I have seen that you can buy some extended levers for this for like $10 on eBay, to where they come out further and makes it to where you can grab it real easy. Of course, it's going to make it less snag proof, but be a lot easier to take down. Okay, this is the M&P, this is the SD9VE, and the rails on the SD9 are just these little stainless steel bit pieces right here. This is not the rails right here, so the slide is riding on these 2 pieces and then on these 2 pieces back here. Now on the M&P, it's running, this whole section right here is the rail, so it's got a lot more rail space to run on there, and it's got this rail space to run on right back here also. M&P9, that rail is just a little bit over an inch, whereas on the SD9, it's about 4/10 of an inch. Okay, on the SD9VE, you cannot switch the magazine release. It's just 2 different shapes on this side, this side and that side. On the M&P9, you can switch this magazine. Actually, I prefer the front serrations on the SD9VE compared to the M&P9. It's got this little weird little thing right here that kind of makes it hard to grab onto that. On the guide rods, on the M&P9, it's a stainless steel rod. You can feel it's heavier. On the SD9, it's a plastic rod. You can see that the barrel is a little bit longer on the M&P9. It's a 4.25 versus 4.0 on this one, I believe. And again, this is a stainless steel finish. This is a stainless steel barrel, but it has the armor knot finish, so it's going to be a little bit more resistant than the SD9VE will be. The M&P9 barrel will fit in here because it's a smaller diameter. The SD9 barrel will not fit in here because it's wider. So in general, in several parts, on the slides, on the barrels, on the rails inside, the difference between these two is that on the SD9VE, this is all stainless steel and just a stainless steel finish. Basically, it's just polished out stainless steel. On the M&P9 2.0, all of this is stainless steel, the slide, the barrel, those rails, but they all have an armor knot finish, which armor knot is basically Smith & Wesson's version of melanite. So it's going to give it a little bit more rust and corrosion prevention that the SD9VE does not have. On the M&P9, the slide to frame fit is better for one reason. It has those longer rails. As I try to rock this slide, there's a very tiny little bit, but on the 9VE, there's a lot more wiggle, and I think it's because of how short, and you can actually see it right there, how short that rail piece is right there. People always talk about bore axis. That's how high the barrel is, basically above your hand. And on the M&P9, I think it's just a tiny bit lower than it is on the SD9VE, but they are very, very similar. Okay, on the 9VE, the rear sight is just a polymer sight, and it's just pressed fit into this dovetail. And on the M&P9, the rear sight is a metal sight, and it's got an Allen key here where you can just tighten that down or loosen it off and adjust it very easy. So it's way easier to adjust this on the M&P9. And then on the front, I think those look like they're absolutely identical. They're both metal. They look like the same thing, so very similar here. Okay, on the 9VE, the slide stop is really wide here, but it's kind of a thin little piece of metal. On the M&P9, it's a lot smaller stop, but it's got a better grip on it, I think. Better lines across there than it does on the 9VE. Just grabs a lot easier. One thing on this, and Military Arms Channel talked about this, what I was talking about on the front cocking serrations right here, is this has a kind of a weird bulge right here in the frame. And so if you're trying to rack the slide using that little serration right there, once your finger gets to that point, it just is going to run up that, and it's not going to be able to hang on to those serrations anymore. On the SD9, it's basically straight all the way from front to back. And one thing that I do like, I don't know why, but it's just really weird, but it has this little finger rest place right here. I don't know why. I just think that's pretty cool to have that on there. So the SD9VE, this pistol, kind of the going back generations, was the Sigma 9, which people love to hate on that because of the trigger, and it was terrible. Then the next generation, that was just the SD9, and now they have the SD9VE, which means SD9 value enhanced. And on this, M&P, Military and Police 9, and this is the M2.0, so this is the second generation of their M&P9. Both of them, I feel like it takes about as much force to rack as the other one. Actually, the M2.0 may be just a little bit harder to rack than the SD9. Now, the M&P9 is probably going to be a little bit more accurate. I looked, I can't find any video of me shooting my SD9VE, but I've had this thing for years. This was actually my dad's gun, and I inherited it from him. But I had this for years. I just don't have any video of me shooting it. But the M&P9 is probably going to be a little bit more accurate for two reasons. Number one, the trigger's a lot better out of the box, and that definitely improves accuracy. And the second thing is that the slide to frame fit is better, and it's not going to allow for any wobble and to really keep things just good and solid. Okay, I've given you a bunch of differences on those, and of course, a lot of the times the M&P9 kind of edged out the SD9VE, but it's a more expensive pistol. And I really do like the SD9VE. I believe it is a very good handgun. And so I don't feel like you're making a bunch of compromises to get it. Now, the trigger on it is definitely heavy. And there's ways to improve that. You can get Apex triggers that can improve stuff. But out of the box, the trigger is kind of heavy. But of course, I know people say in self-defense situations, it doesn't, you don't need a super light trigger. And that's kind of what this would be used for, is either for concealed carrying or to have it as a home defense gun. But the SD9VE is a very good choice. The M&P9, I believe, just does edge it out in several different ways. But it's a little bit more expensive. But I found it on such a good deal. It really was not much more at all than the SD9VE, with me getting it for $325. So if you can find the M&P9 for a good price like that, I feel like that's your best option, because you're not necessarily going to have to do anything to the trigger to make that better like it is on there. It's just a good option. But both of them are definitely good. I like both of them. This is B coming from GNA today. Thanks for watching.